All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call this meeting to order. I welcome all the guests that we have in the house this evening. I hope that we get through this. It's going to be a lengthy schedule tonight. So I'm going to call this meeting to order and declare that we do have a quorum. Mr. Heverly, let's all rise. Would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing we want to do is recognize some old fogies that are retiring tonight. They've been around a long time. So Darren Fargo, Lee Risley, and Kenny Shakenbush. If you guys want to come on up, I know Kenny's here.
I don't think the other, Lee
Okay.
wasn't gonna be able to make it.
I want in on this one too. I want in on this one too.
So, I'm not real sure why we got him something, because he's only been here like a week. I think he might have been newer than me. No, Kenny's been here for, God, over 30 years, right? So he has been one of those staples in the community, obviously on city staff for over 30 years. Started off as an operator in the streets. In the streets. So not only has he been a staple, he's been in streets for all 30 years.
Wow.
So God love him. But again, 30 years of service to the city. And worked his way up from the bottom to now superintendent of streets. Former superintendent of streets. But his lovely wife is here. Ma'am, so would you come up with us? Come up and get a picture with us? You got 3 old guys up here who need some help. So
Come on, Sharon.
Because as most of y'all know, look, it's not just Kenny that did the work. Mr. Shakenbush had to put up with him being gone, the long hours, the phone calls, all of it, man. So thank you for putting up with him for 30 years and allowing him to come work for us for the same amount of time and putting the effort in every day that he's out there. He may not be running the equipment every day, even though he probably wants to, but he's put his time in running every piece of equipment the streets has, and is out there making sure that the guys are doing it and doing it to the best of their ability. Sure.
And that's very evident in the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks, how much important all of our crews are to us. And Kenny, you're a big part of that, and we appreciate you very much. So keeping the streets safe and keeping the lights on, and keeping everything going. You're a big part of everything we do here. We appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all.
So as a small token, a very small token, because what we're giving him is a nice watch. It's not digital, so keep your glasses on. But it's a watch. It's a very small token of our appreciation for Kenny and the years of service that he's put in. Okay, this time nobody moves. Okay. Nope, hey, speech. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's the first time he's
for
been
the
speaking.
opportunity, buddy.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure, and I've made a lot of friends over the years, so I'm gonna call away.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Well, and speaking of longevity, it's amazing. We've got 30 years of service right there with that one employee. Next item on the agenda, we want to recognize Deborah Cates from Roma's Coffee Shop for 25 years of operating a small business. Deborah, you and Ricky, you want to come on up? We're going to give you a small token of our appreciation too. So,
Very real quick, I just want to go ahead and give a little bit of introduction. So on Thursday, June the 5th, Roma's Coffee Shop in Salisaw celebrated a remarkable milestone, as the mayor pointed out, 25th anniversary. For a quarter century, Aromas has been more than just a place to grab coffee. It's become a beloved community hub, integral part of Salisaw's social fabric. Since opening its doors in 2000, Aromas has consistently provided a welcoming and comfortable atmosphere, drawing in locals and visitors alike. Its success can be attributed to the owners, Deborah Enrique Cates, and Deborah's meticulous commitment to quality. From expertly brewed coffees to delicious pastries to a friendly and familiar staff. Over the years, it's become a cherished gathering spot for morning commuters, remote workers, friends catching up, and students studying. Beyond its role as a popular eatery, Aromas has deeply impacted the Sallisaw community by fostering a sense of connection and belonging. It's hosted countless informal meetings, study groups, and casual conversations. Aromas has also been a quiet supporter of local events. You know, there's a lot of people who do things that want attention. I can say that Deborah does things behind the scenes that no one knows. And initiatives, often serving as a convenient meeting point or a source of refreshment for community activities. Its longevity speaks volumes about its sustained popularity and genuine affection the people of Sallisaw have for this enduring local establishment. It takes a special person to run a small business. You've done it well for 25 years, so thank you.
We know, we should have had you bring back the
Tomorrow's baked potato day.
We have a small certificate of recognition here. I want to award it to Roma's Coffee Shop in recognition of your 25 years of outstanding service, dedication, and contribution to our community. Your commitment to excellence, perseverance, and entrepreneurial spirit have made a lasting impact. We celebrate your journey and honor the legacy you continue to build, and you've had a great supporter behind you there. So this is a small certificate we'd like to give to you. So let's give this.
And we got a little swag bag for you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Item 6, conduct a public hearing for the purpose of receiving questions and/or comments on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2025, 2026. I'll now declare that we have an open public hearing on that budget. Any comments, concerns, questions? Council members?
Everything went good?
Everything we talked about is good, and the addendums we have are all correct? Everything's
The
good?
trailer, the stuff like that?
So the two extra items you want to purchase are in there and reflected. The city COLA is not reflected individually, but it is, the contingency is still in there for it, so that'll be where we pull that money from.
Okay. So we do have it accounted.
Sections that we gave you for all three sections, Jennifer, that those pages will need to be replaced. Section 1 was just correcting some of the narrative that we had talked about. Section 2 reflects the 1% discount for the Blue Cross Blue Shield, the contribution to SIC that was increased, the wastewater treatment office building, and the general fund contingency was affected by moving some of that, just by $40-something hundred. And then we added a real trailer, and by doing, for an SMA, and by doing that, I just reduced the reserves. And then in section 3, that was the personnel pages that I'll need to replace.
Okay. Any other comments on the public hearing? If not, I will close. I'm sorry.
Ask anybody? Does anybody from the audience have anything to say about it, or want to make a comment?
Okay, we'll close the public hearing then. Thank you. Item 7, discussion and possible action on resolution 2025-03, a resolution approving and adopting the budget for the city of Sallisaw, Oklahoma for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30, 2026, finding all things requisite and necessary have been done in preparation and presentment of said budget. Just a comment for the audience, this council, mayor, the staff spent 2 full days in May meticulously going over the budget, looking at the dollars and cents and going through it with a fine-tooth comb, making suggestions, asking questions, and we feel like that this staff has done a great job of putting together a very good budget for this city, and it's a very comprehensive budget, but it's also a very conservative budget, which is what we like to see happen too. So if we have any comments about this motion from the council, not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-03, adopting the fiscal year 26 budget.
Second.
Moody,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Mendiola?
Yes.
Martins?
Yes. And as a result of that, discussion and possible action on removal of any item from the consent agenda. Do anyone have any comments on any items on the consent agenda that we need to change or remove? Pretty lengthy. Everybody has looked at it, I'm sure.
Keith answered a couple questions I had, so I'm good on that.
Okay. So could we have an action item on the consent agenda? Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mendiola?
Yes.
Moody?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Martins?
Yes. Okay, item 11, receive presentation from a hospital representative regarding participation in the Rural Community Hospital Demonstration Program. This is going to be exciting news. Who's up? Hi, Stephanie.
Yes.
Okay, so, we have been struggling. You hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys know, you've been working with us on the bond for about 6 months, and hospital's been struggling for a long, long time. We've known for many years that probably the only thing that was truly gonna save us is if we could be deemed critical access. And critical access, according to Medicare, was not gonna happen for us because we had to be located 32 miles from the next hospital. And so that being Baptist, we were within 25 miles, and there was nothing that we could do. We worked with all the state representatives, we have been to the White House and picketed, worked with everybody, and there was no moving that needle. There just wasn't anything we could do. So what has happened, in 2004, Medicare started a project that allowed 30 hospitals across the nation to be in a project called Rural Community Hospital Demonstration Project. And that project is very similar to critical access. It's cost reimbursement, which is 100% what we needed to survive. And they had permission to have 30 hospitals in the project. Over the past 20 years, they had let 20 hospitals in. And in December of this year, they announced they were going to look at 10 more hospitals across the nation to fill those 10 last spots. And you had to fill out a grant, apply, and go through a rigorous interview process to make that happen. And we were awarded the 1st of May, one of the 10 final selection for that project. So it is absolutely going to be life-saving. What that is we will get cost reimbursement. So the first year, we'll set what we start getting next year. So what we spend this year, we'll set for next year, and that's the kind of the way it'll work. Now, we'll start getting more money this year. We're anticipating about $50,000 more per month at the very least. So that started in May, and it's a huge deal and life-altering for us. So very thankful for you guys for helping us with the bond that got us where we need to be at. I think we're gonna have about $30,000 left in that account, or above the sales tax for the past 4 months, that's what I meant to say. So that's huge, and thank you for all you guys have done with the bond money and helping us with that. And I just wanted to let you know that we have been put in that program, which is huge.
Congratulations.
Is there an end date on this? Is it from now on, or have they said?
The project right now goes through 2028, then they reevaluate and renew for another 5 years if need be. And the hospitals that have already been in have been getting those 5 years extensions. So we don't see any reason that we would not continue on.
Okay. Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
Thank
everybody
you.
working on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have good. Any other? Okay. Number 12, receive presentation from Paula Hairway, DBM, regarding spay and neuter program. Paula?
We have been tasked with rewriting the animal ordinance, and we've been working on this for a while. We have finally, I think, come to the end of the road on this and decided on a lot of things. One of the possible unknowns that I'm here to advocate for tonight is a spay-neuter ordinance in our town. This was kind of up, up in the air a little bit, and Mr. Heverly put out a public survey on this, and we got over 50% positive feedback on the possibility of having a spay-neuter ordinance in our town. So this is what I'm presenting tonight. So the increasing, you've changed it or do I? Okay. I'll just start that. It's an increasing problem with animal overpopulation, and it's not just here. The problem with these increasing strays is seen all over rural communities, everywhere. All of the people that we talk to in other cities, large and small, are seeing the same problems. All of the shelters are just overwhelmed right now. The only places that seem to be having, any hope at all are the places that have these spay-neuter ordinances in place. And those are the places where we have been trying to reach out to send some of our population, but it's not a sustainable answer for us. It's just there's too many animals, too many states trying to get their pets to California, Colorado, and the places that have these ordinances in place. So it's an increasing problem. The uncontrolled breeding leads to disease, suffering, public and safety concerns. I think you're a little bit ahead of me. There you go. So the uncontrolled breeding leads to disease, suffering, public safety concerns. The puppies that we run into out of these unwanted litters, very commonly parvo, distemper, we run into these problems. They're very unhealthy usually. They have huge worm burdens, most of them, as Margaret can attest, because she takes care of a lot of these puppies that we have taken in the past couple of years. The worm burden in these is horrible, which means that where these animals are kept, children are walking, there's zoonotic potential for disease in kids that pick up the worm eggs that's called visceral larval migrans. I mean, there's a lot of things like that these can relate to, and as far as being a public safety concern. And the next one is just a picture of a couple of the more recent scenes that we have. The dogs on the right, we picked up at a local junkyard. They're at Margaret's now. She's working on the endless task of trying to get these sent out of our area. The ones on the left, same situation. People seem to dump. Some of them come from the county and get dumped in the city because they know that they might be taken care of. And then the opposite also happens. People in the city call the shelter and they say, we're full, which is a common problem for us. And then they take them and they dump them out in the county. So the animals suffer. The common scenario that we see is people, they have a neighbor that wants a puppy, or they know two people that want a puppy, so they let their female get bred. Well, then there's two, and then what do we do with the other 10? It's just, that's what happens, and then they get dumped. So, next one. The overpopulated shelters, and we have a plan to increase capacity at our shelter, but we turn away so many that literally that might help with the current rate that we have now. We might be able to sustain and, take care of a current problem, but for that to get even bigger, it will not, it'll just increase with the unwanted pet population. The increases are inevitable, and they'll result in further shelter overpopulation, increased need for euthanasia if we don't take proactive steps. And on the next one is just a picture of a couple in-city dogs that we've had lately. Of course, the one on the right was pregnant. The one on the left was just not very far down from my house. And so we have the disease and the neglect within the city limits. It is a problem. I just don't think that everyone is quite aware of what we're dealing with. So we need more awareness of the animal issues, and my nonprofit, Sequoia Animal Advocates, is at every event. We're trying to educate the public. We're trying to make it obvious to people that there is a problem here. But our funding is very limited. We need more education, and we sometimes go in the schools and talk to the kids and try to teach them that what they see at home or how their parents tie up a dog in the backyard or whatever is not right. You know, they've got to learn from somewhere else. So a spay-neuter policy is needed to curtail the unwanted animal population because it's just exponential increases. I mean, you can have a house with a yard, maybe today, they're on the limit, they've got 3 dogs, like previously they were supposed to. Well, if there are 3 intact females, you're gonna have 30 dogs in that yard. I mean, it's just that fast, and it overwhelms us. We cannot deal with that much. People will say, well, we'll just transport them. As Margaret could tell you, it is an astronomical paperwork nightmare trying to get these dogs out of here. It's a huge expense. They all have individual requirements that they want us to follow before they'll even consider taking our animals. And then but it's so iffy, you know, they pick and choose what they want. So, you know, you have a foster, you get somebody to help you with with a certain litter. You know, it's sort of like when you go into it, you have no end game, you know, and then after someone has taken care of animals for 2 to 3 months while we get all the shots and all the requirements done, sometimes we come to a dead end. After all that expense, time, people getting used to it. Fosters don't they can't do that for very long. It wears you out. So that's not a solution, as a lot of people say, that they, just transport them out. There are a couple more dogs. They're an example of a city dog that we picked up, and then a dog we're just, pure uncared for. We pick up a lot of dogs like that that are matted and have owners that, they may have picked it up at the Walmart parking lot. They might have, paid money for those, which is another issue we've addressed in this, and there'll be no more roadside sales or giving away of these animals, because even if they can get $10 for them and they've got a litter of 6, they think they've got a fat hog because they just made $60, and when you talk to them about spaying their female, they're not even interested because it's a money-making prospect for them. So, and it's horrible. None of them have had any shots, and we got provisions in the new ordinance for that. They have to prove that they've done that. But, and there's a lot of citations that we can write, but most of the people, if the citation limit is at least a little bit higher than the cost to spay these animals, then we're hoping that will be the direction they take. And if we have a spay-neuter policy, you'd be surprised how many people just don't want to do it. They don't even have a good reason. They're not inspired to do it. We offer help to achieve these goals of having an animal-friendly and healthy pet population. We're going in that direction. I love the dog park. Our nonprofit in the Salisaw Animal Care Facility, we participate in all the events in the area. We have a lot of volunteers down there. But we've got to reduce the stray population because that's where all the sick and neglected animals are. We don't want to get into a situation where we have to do more shelter euthanasias. That is really hugely a bad public perception when that comes up. And the litters are kind of what creates the biggest problem in that, because the numbers are just too big. You can't give away. There's not enough homes is the whole problem. So it improves the public health and safety with the children, possibility of picking up those worm eggs and rabies exposures. We have a lot of situations in the city where there have been known exposure with no vaccination history, and we have to deal with those. The spay-neuter policy would decrease the nuisance behaviors, fighting, roaming, aggressive behaviors due to mating. And you would be surprised how many people will tell us their dog hasn't been bred, and then you ask them if she's been locked up every minute, and they say no, and then they can't believe when we take them in to get them done and tell them, she was bred. They don't seem to be able to grasp that it's just flat going to happen. So it gives us an opportunity to intervene if we have the spay-neuter policy, and we can go in and talk to them about it, hopefully get ahead of the game and be able to make people see that we're gonna have a much better population of animals. These are puppies just north in town that they gave us a call recently. They're in an igloo house that had giant holes in the top of it. It was storming that night. I mean, this is just the kind of thing we run into constantly. So the family needed food to help feed them. They had no vaccination history on that litter or any of the other dogs that they had on their property. You know, we try to offer help. We don't, you can't solve their problems basically without having a way to be able to tell them that we have to sterilize that animal or you'll be back there. And as our nonprofit, that is our policy. We help them if, you know, under those certain conditions because we can't afford to do it and then do the same thing again in 6 months. So these are, the supporters in our area include all the area veterinarians that I've talked to, the animal control officers, and everyone involved in rescue are all advocates for this. And some of the concerns that you hear that they can't afford the surgery, well, that's where we step in. We don't just go to someone's home and say, you know, here's a citation and you have to do this. If they don't have means, we are there to work through it with them. And we, you know, we're not trying to put a hardship on anybody. We will help them make sure that this happens. And it's cheaper than paying for a litter. And if they say that they have a small animal breeding business in the city limits, there's exemptions in our ordinance for that. Or if they have medical concerns for their animal, if it's old or has had problems with euthanasia before, we have exemptions for that. And we're currently working on some grant opportunities that would be really great because we could offer those and then when it wouldn't drain smaller organizations like ours. So there are some out there and I've got Katie working on that now. And we offer free vaccination clinics. We have them at every small area. We do Marble City, Sallisaw, Roland, Muldrow, and all those places. And sometimes we just set up at the farmer's market. So we try to, you know, when they bring them up, then that's when we see that's an intact animal and we talk to them about it at that time and offer help. So prevention's cheaper than reaction. And there are other small towns who have been doing this. Claremore probably speaks of the most success. Lawton, Ponca City, they do it in Tulsa. I talked to them yesterday. And we're blessed to have at least 3 places within 20 miles of us that you can get a low-cost spay or neuter, which is just unheard of for some places of our size. People drive 2 or 3 hours to even get to, you know, to one of these type of programs, but we have 3 right here that you can get an animal sterilized for under $100, which the citation is $100. So that's kind of it. And I also had one comment on the changes that are kind of happening in veterinary medicine at this time, and I feel like this would be a huge way for us to kind of get ahead of some problems. Rural veterinary practices are suffering. We're losing them at an astronomical rate, and they're one of the OSU students that's here on the Rural Renewal Initiative grant that is her project, is studying the loss of rural veterinarians. So that's been really interesting to talk with her. And as that happens, then these things won't be available. You know, they'll be, the places that they'll be forced to take their animals to will be much, much more expensive. So we kind of try to get ahead of the problem. So if we as a nonprofit have to help somebody maybe sterilize 2 or 3 of their animals, we can afford to do it at this time. But that's probably going to get to be a lot more difficult later. If anybody has any questions, I'd love for. We're hoping that the ordinance will be next month, to vote on it next month.
Any questions? Anybody in the community would like to donate to you, how would they do that? How would donate to your group to help?
Sequoia Animal Advocates, yeah, or they can call me. I think we have it set up on our page.
Okay.
So,
Facebook page, yeah.
yeah.
If anyone wants to donate, they can do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't have a lot of, you know, it's small donations. We've gotten some good help, like through the Cherokee Nation. I've been so grateful for that. But as far as any, you know, big grants, but there are a couple. We do have a grant that gives us the ability to do the free vaccinations. not on the rabies. They don't provide us with rabies, so we try to either absorb that cost or we have to charge for the rabies part. But we're pretty lucky as a community, and we just want to keep it, going in the right direction and try to keep things under control. I literally picked up a dog as I was coming here, and two days ago. It's just, it's a struggle. And when you get the calls about the litters, that's probably when you start feeling it the worst. It feels very hopeless when you get 3 calls in the same week from somebody with litters of 10 to 12 pups, and you're just like, your head just spins. It's like there's 30 dogs that something's gonna have to happen to. In a week, it's not uncommon to get 3 calls, not all from in the city, I don't mean that. But the city is what we can control now, so.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for what you and your helpers do. That's an important work you're doing. We sure
Thanks for-
appreciate what you're doing, and
Thanks for
so.
listening.
Any questions, anybody? Comment?
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay, item 13, discussion and possible action on items related to a law enforcement mutual aid agreement between the Sequoia County Sheriff's Department and the City of Southall. Who's up?
So this is a renewal of the mutual aid agreement between ourselves and Sequoia County Sheriff's Department. Because it requires a resolution, we couldn't put it in the consent agenda. So it's something that we've done every year for several years, and again, this is just the renewal of that.
Any comments? Not, I need 2 motions here, please.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 2025-08.
Second.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martins.
Yes.
Make a motion, we approve law enforcement mutual aid agreement.
Second.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martins.
Yes. Item 14, discussion and possible action on resolution 2025-09, which is a resolution approving renewal of the sales tax agreement with Sequoia County, City of Southall Hospital Authority.
So this is also an annual renewal of the sales tax usage. There is a little bit of verbiage change, in the resolution that reflects the bond issue that was passed this past spring. This past February.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 2025-09.
Second.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martins.
Yes. Item 15, discussion and possible action on fiscal year 2025-26 Oklahoma Municipal Insurance Group, or OMAG, invoice for renewal of workman's compensation insurance, the amount of $308,063 paid quarterly in escrow use form.
So this is the total amount, as it says there, this is for the entire year. But by approving the total amount tonight, we don't have to bring this back to you every quarter when we actually pay the invoice. I make a motion to approve workers' comp invoice in the amount of $308,063 in escrow use form.
Second.
Moody,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Martins.
Yes. Item 16 is a discussion and possible action on items related to petition for detachment by Leslie J. Broyle, Staten Borough's agent. And we have 2 motions on this. We open up a public hearing for that petition at this time.
So yes, I'm just wanting to get the property detached from the corporate. As far as everything goes, I've been in communication with the city, trying to get everything in progress, and this is where we ended up as far as everything.
Any additional information?
Where's it at?
He came to us a while back and was wanting to de-annex from the city limits. At first, when he was wanting to put a structure on the property, it wasn't, by our ordinance, we felt like he didn't have the right amount of property to do that with as far as connection to the main thoroughfare, the road. And so at that point, that's when he decided he'd like to de-annex.
Okay.
And he is surrounded on 4 sides I think we do have electric there, but of course, we did let him hook up because of the, property issue.
So we agreed that, we agreed, my interpretation of the ordinance is because he has an easement to the frontage road, that he would have access to city electric. We have not hooked it up because we're in this process, but he does have access to it. He does have access and currently used, well, up until a couple months ago when we turned it off, right, water and sewer to the property.
They had tapped into it through a different, somebody else was using it,
Okay.
is what it was.
Okay. The property is just it's east of South, as you go South Cedar, where it turns into that gravel road. He is on the east side of that, back 200 feet, 300 feet back off the road. So the easement does give him frontage access to the road. Otherwise, an orphaned property in that area. He is west of the airport, but east of South Cedar. Excuse me, west of South Cedar, but east of the airport. I apologize. So he's right in between that area, and just north of the Rhodes property that we've purchased.
And he does have a 25-foot easement that goes back to that. Was it 1 acre, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
Is this something that we've ever done before? Is this?
So we have never done this before. We've actually never de-annexed, at least the current staff,
I found one in 87.
one in 1987. So the current staff has never
Yeah, current tax
de-annexed
collector.
anybody. So we don't have precedent for this. Our ordinances don't specifically speak to this process, to the requirements, to the prerequisites. What we thought we knew, we couldn't actually cite our source for prerequisites, so we don't have an ordinance that governs this. We don't have a process that governs this. Excuse me, we have a process, and that's what we followed up till now. But we do not have a process or a set of prerequisites that says in order for you to de-annex, you need to have these 3 or 4 different things, or you have to have these conditions set before you can de-annex. Or anything that prevents de-annexation, to be fair. Nothing like, hey, if he's surrounded on all 4 sides, he can't de-annex. We don't have anything like that. I would caution council that commission, that this without a process, this would set a dangerous precedent. So we currently do not have a process. We don't have prerequisites. This would set a precedent where any landowner could come up and petition to be de-annexed.
So why the de-annexation?
I was denied water and electricity in the beginning because of the frontage. And so I started to do some digging, and then I just wanted to, I turned to the de-annexation just because I wanted to be able to provide my own utilities, because I wasn't going to be able to through the city.
Okay, so we can't provide him services?
We absolutely can. We have easements.
Why aren't we getting them electric or water?
So when I came in, the question was, we can't provide him, the interpretation of, we can't provide him electricity because it would go through an easement, it doesn't go through a dedicated line. My interpretation of the ordinance is absolutely we can, because he does have an easement. It's not a temporary easement, he has an easement with the current landowner to be able to provide him an easement through which we can run electricity. So we have not, because we've been in this process and the gentleman did not want electricity at that point.
And water?
Same thing, water and sewer. He has access to them, has chosen not to have them.
He has access to water, sewer's not available in that area.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, hasn't been extended down. Part of it is, our ordinances require that, something of that size has to be zoned, has to be platted. These are all other processes that we talked to, Stanton about. Those were some of the other deciding factors that if, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stanton, that you had taken into consideration was the fact that we would have to go through some of those other processes as well. And, the plating, that involves a surveyor, things of that nature. And then our ordinances say that we actually can't provide, our utilities to anybody that's not platted or issue a building permit if they're not platted. So that was some of the other issues that we course, again, like Mr. Beverly said, we don't have anything laying this out on what we can actually look at, what, some guidance on how we de-annex. So those are issues that, like you said, that we really need to address.
Is there a house there now?
There is a building there, yes.
Just a building and not a house, or?
A house, yes.
do-
In fairness, he moved a building in there. I don't, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's been a while since I've looked at it, but he doesn't have footings under it, you've got just blocks, correct?
So I've got pier pads, which is like ground, it won't sink, and then it's on blocks.
So in our ordinance does require, if it's a residential structure that somebody's gonna live in, it has to have footings. So those don't count as footings, the footing goes all the way around the structure. And that's stuff that we were working with him on and we were talking about, on this property. So that's where he decided he wanted to de-annex.
So there's requirements, ordinances, codes that structures have to, that landowners have to play by as part of the city. Mr. Broyles doesn't want to do that.
I was willing to, but when the frontage came into play, that's whenever I just decided to de-annex it.
Okay.
Because it was a frontage issue, being able to get back there from the road.
So we've addressed that, we've fixed that. You do have an easement, you have 25-foot easement frontage to South Cedar. So if that's no longer an issue,
I would still like to de-annex.
so again, so we've addressed that. So now we're at a point where he wants to de-annex because correct me if I'm wrong, he doesn't want to be beholden to the same rules and codes and everything else that other city property has to. It's the difference between being county and being city. The property is not dead center, but pretty much dead center of the city.
The whole time y'all's talking, all I'm thinking is, I wanna do it
Don't
next.
have a picture of the property.
I can probably pull it up on that.
I wanna do it.
Then can you go Google Earth or the ATV, that account, and you got that on there?
Here's about where it's at. See this little spur right here?
Stan, you want to look over his shoulder, make sure he's looking at the right.
Oh, I zoomed in right here. So where am I at here?
So
Leslie J.
this is South Cedar. This is Hauser,
Okay,
right there. There you go.
This small square area that's got the 225 on it.
that little spot right there.
Zoom out and kind of get a little
It's the part that's all greened in with trees.
Yeah, so your section
Right
right
there.
here.
This is the Rhodes property, airport, Cedar Street, and it's that 1 acre right there.
Mr. Pace, what's your opinion?
There are two separate ways for de-annexation under Oklahoma state law, one of which requires him to be on a border, but it appears he's landlocked. So the only possible scenario for him to de-annex is through a city ordinance. I was discussing with Brian, our city ordinances don't have any requirements, and I'm kind of on the same page with him that our city could look like a checkerboard with random people deciding to undo if we don't have guidelines for what those requirements are.
Any other comments or questions?
It's one of those decisions it's difficult to look at because we want to be fair to people, but we have to look at everything as a city as a whole. And understand your situation. we don't have rules to play by. We don't know exactly what we're doing. It's hard to make a decision when we don't know exactly what we're doing.
I hate telling somebody what to do with their property. Hate it. But if we pass it, I'm gonna do it next.
Yeah,
Next.
it's gonna set up a
Yeah.
situation if we don't have the rules in place.
I think it's something that, now that it's brought up, will probably come back again.
I need more.
So I think it'd be something that y'all need to put on the list to look at.
So would
And
that
to-
put me on a hold then, for y'all to make a decision? Even though there's no ordinances or anything that y'all don't have in play right now?
Well, the ordinance is in place right now is if you build on that property, you have to follow the code. If you build a structure, you have to follow city code, correct,
Did you-
Chris? Correct?
Did you buy the property or inherit it or what?
It was my grandpa's and it's been,
I lived there 45 years ago, I had all the utilities and everything.
Right,
He did. There was a trailer on it, correct?
I had a house on
Okay.
okay.
foundation, I lived there when my wife committed suicide, and I decided to move off and just let it sit for 45 years.
Okay. I think it would be different for me if it was a property that wasn't already annexed into the city. That's the part that it's hard for me because, I mean, you're in my ward, you know, and I understand if you don't wanna, you know, if you don't wanna do electric, you know, you can do solar. I mean, is the ordinance say if he builds a house, but I mean, you still have to follow the guidelines that's there now, the footing,
Right.
this and that. But does the ordinance say that he has to have a city electric,
So because he's in the city, he could not have anything but city electric.
no solar?
So he could have solar,
Yeah,
but
that's
if
what
he,
you're
if he
talking
was,
about,
if he was
right?
attached to public utility, it would have to be from the city. It couldn't be Cookson, it couldn't be
Right,
anybody
right,
else.
yeah, because it's, the city was already there, but, you know, I think you would have, I mean, like I said,
And right now, because we don't have, GRDA doesn't have a solar policy. We don't have a solar policy. It would have to be all solar.
right,
It couldn't be a mix so far.
but then I mean, I'm not sure how you planned on getting water. You know, I mean, there's nothing around you.
I had some ideas that are legal.
So I mean, my thing is, you know, like I said, you're in my ward, but if it was something to where it was not utilities and stuff that was already there, you know, from your grandpa, you know, that had it for, you know, however long he did, 45 years, you know, that's the part, but, you know, if you don't wanna run electric, you know, but being in the city, but being in the ordinance, you're gonna have to follow the footing and stuff like that, you know.
I'm wanting to detach myself from the ordinance though.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying, if it was something we didn't have electric and stuff there too, I think it'd be a little bit different, but for me, because all the services are already there, they've been there for 45 years.
If I would've never got, told no, I would've never went this route.
Right,
As far as like being able to do it, cause it was already there.
right,
And so I wasn't able to do it. I would've followed the codes and stuff, but they made me do some digging and
right,
so now I
Found
want
a loophole
the loopholes, I guess.
that I'm not interested in.
yeah. I just,
It's not necessarily a loophole, it's just, you know,
Right.
from the corporation.
right, I understand. Okay. And then planning commission, did he
This
go to
didn't
planning commission?
come in front of the planning commission.
No, if I understand it right, it comes straight to
Yeah.
council, is that correct, Jordan?
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
And that would be something that if we did write a policy, I would recommend saying that you would want it to run through planning commission first and then come to city council. That way you have a group that can study it before it gets here.
No matter what happens here tonight, I think it is time that you take a look at a policy, Jordan, and see what we can maybe borrow from somebody else that we like and go from there for the future. Bring us a policy. If any other comments? Staten, anything else you want to say?
Stanton worked with us, I mean, he was real patient with us, and this has been a process for us, because none of us have done this. So he's been real patient, and he's been working with us on it, so. I just wanted to put that out there, he really has been patient.
Well, if there's no other comment, I'll close the public hearing. And then we go to item B. Do we want to take action on this item?
So do you need a motion for approval or denial?
Denial, approval or
Is that what
denial?
we're looking for? In the ordinance, the 2025-10 is what?
That would be the ordinance required to allow him to de-annex.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, you're either approving that ordinance or you're denying the request, and then the ordinance goes away. The ordinance isn't relevant.
Right, yeah. It's for action on the petition for detachment and the ordinance. So if you deny it, then you don't need to approve the ordinance. But if you're gonna approve it, you need to approve the petition and the ordinance.
I think we're setting a dangerous precedent here.
Again,
Is it because it's under the threat of like other people doing it?
not
So it's not fair towards me
Not
as
for
far
me,
as-
the part for me is because the house has been there for as long as it's been there, and
The
it's,
house hasn't.
well, the property's been there with the utilities with the city already. You know, solar, I understand that you could get, electric, I'm not for sure how you plan on getting water, but for me, everything already being there for as long as it's been, that's the part that's for me.
Right, and I get what you're saying, but I'm wanting to detach it from that. So
Why no?
since they're existing, I'm wanting to provide it for myself because I was already told no.
Right.
As far as because of frontage. And that's what kind of led me down this road as far as everything else. So if I was already told no, that I couldn't do it, that's why I wanted to come up here to
Right.
get it, I guess, situated or figured out.
Right. I mean, I understand.
And since there is nothing as far as y'all's codes or anything saying that I can't yet,
I'm not sure there's
So
anything
it
that
is-
says you can.
Correct. Nothing that says you can, nothing that says you can't. It also would, the precedent being set would also make future planning almost impossible. How do you plan for zoning when anybody within that zone can de-annex at their will? You've got a property that's being sold, commercial, residential, industrial, that is in the city, sold to a new owner, they want to de-annex. Next owner comes in, they want to re-annex. So it is almost impossible to plan around something like this. And once the precedent is set, precedent is there until we can get back to it. And that is, that it's going to take us a little bit of time to create a policy, plagiarize a policy, whatever the case may be, to address this specifically. And that most likely will go through the planning commission, so we're looking at least 90 days before we can get it up here. And that's giving the planning commission a turn to look at it and present it to them, have them look at it, have them approve it, bring it before you all.
Action, please.
I will make a motion that we deny the detachment, and again, this is something we need to look into.
Second.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martins.
Yes.
Sorry, sir.
that's okay, I'll be back. I'll be back.
All right. Anything? Ernie? Anything else?
Thank you, Stan. That's
So
it.
it's a
Thank you.
no?
That's it.
Yes. As of
So
right now.
as far as everything else, what do I have to do as far as,
Work with our code to, if you build a structure there, you're gonna have to work with our city.
so no, I'm still wanting to proceed with the de-annexation? as far as the 90 days, will you guys have that in play as far as
I
being?
can't guarantee that, Stat, and I don't know. We'll just have to see if we can get it done. I mean, if we get a policy in the future, yes, you're certainly, you know,
But what I'm saying is, right now, since y'all don't have any policies in play, there's nothing that we can do legally as far as like getting everything situated?
not really. No.
If you want to look, come see us, and we'll talk to you.
Moving on. All right, 17, this is a lengthy one too. Discussion and possible action on ordinance 2025-11, an ordinance repealing Article 5, Sections 22-131 through 22-180 of Chapter 22 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Southall, and adding a new Article 5, Sections 22-131 through 22-180 to Chapter 22 of the City of Southall Code of Ordinances, including a severability clause, repealing all conflicting ordinances and providing for codification, and we will have to declare this an emergency if we pass it.
So conveniently or inconveniently, depending on which side of this you're on, Governor Stitt passed a new law on May 5th. As you all recall, we passed our changes to our itinerant vendor policy in April, and the governor passed what he calls the Food Truck Freedom Act, which significantly changes how we do business when it comes to itinerant vendors and food trucks. So the changes that you see in front of you to the ordinances proposed reflect those changes in the state law. Now, state law technically doesn't go into effect until 1 November, but our policy was already in effect, and input from other folks, we needed to make changes anyway. So that's what this reflects, is an attempt to capture it all in the same swoop. In short, what it means is a food truck that is licensed by the state, the city can no longer charge a permit fee for, and we would be issuing a permit to recognize that state permit, and that state permit is all they need to operate on public and private property. There are some limitations as far as how long they can operate on private property, but that is between them and the private property owner and not us, as far as the city is concerned. Now, if you're selling anything other than food, everything still applies, but food trucks specifically are exempt from any city fees unless they're operating in a city park, to include the sports complex.
So what's the fee for the city one?
If they're operating in a city park, it would be $20 a day. There's a daily, a monthly, and an annual fee. And the verbiage reflects that fee still being in there unless they're operating outside of a city park, which means there's no fee.
But they still have to have a city license.
We're asking that they come and apply for a city permit, yes.
And price is?
0.
Okay.
The state law allows for a nominal fee to be collected for administrative purposes. It's not worth it. So it'll be a free permit.
Okay.
For food trucks.
Just to be clear,
Sure.
food trucks can move around inside the
Yes.
city now without getting a permit to be on Elm Street, getting a permit to be on.
That is correct.
Well, are we gonna start this now, or are we gonna wait?
This would go into effect 1 July? No? Immediately.
Immediately.
That's what we're gonna declare emergency, it'll be immediate.
And Josh, what we're saying is they can do that as soon as they have 2 trucks, they need to have 2 permits. But yes, they can operate anywhere in the city. We don't require a location specific anymore.
Awesome.
And that city permit is just an unlimited recognition of their state permit.
It's a state permit. So with the Food Truck Freedom Act, this municipalities are no longer allowed to take or to require permit fees, any other permitting process, other than to recognize the state process.
Is the city license mandatory?
City license would be mandatory, yes, sir. But again, free,
Free license.
and all it does is recognize the state's permit. So functionally what that will do is that'll allow people to come up to the food vendor and say, hey, have their city permit right there, that Sallisaw knows you're operating there and all that good stuff. But we're not charging for it, and what it also does is allow us to look at and make sure they do have a state license.
Love it. I make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-11.
Second.
Bailey?
Yes.
Moody?
Yes.
Mendiola?
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Need an emergency motion, please?
I'm making emergency motion. Second.
Bailey.
Yes.
Moody.
Yes.
Mendiola.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Okay, item 18, Pancho. Conduct public hearing to determine if property located at 805 South Walnut Street is a public nuisance. Possible action on case 5-25-1C, a condemnation of dilapidated structure and direction to abate nuisance. I will declare the public hearing open.
The structure located at 805 South Walnut, as seen in the photographs, has been unoccupied and without utilities since 2020. Owned by Charles and Mary Chambers. Charles is deceased. There has been no contact with Mary or any other family members as of this current time. The building is in a state of decay and deterioration due to the lack of upkeep and maintenance. The structure was the site of vandalism and a burglary by juveniles in 2022. Building development does have a concern for the children and residents in the area, as well as the close proximity of nearby residences should the structure succumb to an unintended fire due to transient activity. We request that the property be declared as a nuisance and order its abatement. Are there any questions?
If the house is on Walnut, that's not the one I thought it was gonna be.
I still got one more.
Okay, I figure, maybe it's that one I
I
was
still
thinking.
got one more.
Okay. Everybody good?
I need, any other comments? I'll close the public hearing then, and we'll have a motion.
Make a motion to approve case number 5-25-1C to be declared a public nuisance and direct staff to abate.
Second.
Mendiola.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Moody.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. 19, conduct public hearing to determine if the property located at 613 West Choctaw is a public nuisance. Possible action on 525-2C, condemnation or dilapidated structure and direction to abate nuisance. I'll open a public hearing.
This structure has been unoccupied for at least 1 year. It was found unsecured. Does show signs of decay and deterioration due to the lack of maintenance and upkeep. Owned by David Reeves, who is currently in a nursing facility. Large amounts of garbage were seen inside, as well as feral animals also seen fleeing through open doors. The property was abated one time by the city last year for mowing and cleaning. And because of the condition of the property and that it was has been found unsecured multiple times since this original assessment, the building development does have concerns for the children and residents in the area. Request it be declared as a nuisance and order an immediate abatement. Any questions?
Questions or comments?
Make a motion we approve
Wait a minute,
case,
let me close, I'll close the
Okay.
public hearing, then we can have action, okay?
make a motion we approve case number 5-25-2C to be declared a public nuisance and direct staff to abate.
Second.
Mendiola.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Moody.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Thank you. Item 20, discussion and possible action on planning commission case number PC 2025-004, which is a single lot split for David and Phyllis Peterson. Hi.
So the property owner is asking to split this lot. There is 2 homes on it. It is zoned R2. It does meet the requirements of the lot size. It has all utilities are available. And Planning Commission did recommend approval of this. We didn't see any issues with it, so we approve it as well.
They getting rid of one?
Their intent is to sell both pieces of property. The property owner is here if you do have questions.
Where's it at?
It is on Scott and Locust on the corner, right across from the splash pad.
This has kind of been discussed before, hadn't it? Hadn't it kind of been talked about for a while? Or I think this is not the first time we've heard of this, or has it come before?
On this property, to my knowledge, is the first time we've heard of it.
There was another one in that area, I think.
Any questions?
Questions, comments?
Make a motion for approval of the lot split.
Second.
Thank you.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Item 21, discussion possible action on preliminary airport subdivision plat.
So this is a plat of the airport property. What it does is it lays out lots for hangars and puts us into a position to receive those folks who want to build the plats, or excuse me, build the hangars, as opposed to them approaching us first and then having to wait for us to go through the process of platting a piece of property and going through the planning commission and bringing to you the approval. But this allows us to get into a position again to receive those folks as they come in and lease property as we have interested parties. Did I miss anything?
The only other thing is it breaks it down into about 30 lots, so, I mean, there is room for a lot of expansion out there once we do this. It does include some locations for some executive hangars, which are gonna be larger hangars, more along the size of 60 by 100. So, we think that we've got everything. Airport Commission did approve it, they like it, and we did run this through Tom Hanning as well, and he helped us situate the sizes of the lots.
So both the Airport Advisory Board and the Planning Commission have seen this and recommend approval.
Okay. Motion?
Make a motion, we approve the preliminary airport subdivision plat?
Second.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Okay, the next item is number 22, discussion possible action to convene an executive session for the purpose of discussing negotiations between the Fraternal Order Police Lodge Number 148 as authorized by Title 25 Oklahoma Statute 307B2. Mr. Pace, do you recommend we go into executive session?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Can I have a motion for that, or we don't have to have a motion, do we? Do? All right.
Make a motion.
Second.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. And we'll go back to the executive session.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Could I have a motion, please?
I make a motion.
Moody,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Item 24, possible action and direction pursuant to executive session concerning negotiation between the Fraternal Order Police Lodge 148 and the City of South Salem.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Moody.
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Okay, 25, receive update on economic development and grant activities. Mr. Borman?
Thank you, I'll try to be brief. We just got back from the Economic Mobility and Opportunities Conference that we went to for our ICMA grant last week. Other than little travel woes, it went well. Our Workforce Development Summit is scheduled for October the 10th. That'll involve all our educational institutions, our government, quasi-government chambers, and businesses throughout the region to try to come up with real, practical, good solutions for businesses and workforce development. We closed the Oklahoma Arts Council grant for the Diamond Days downtown. That was like the 20th year in a row, I think, that we've applied for that and received it. So well, again, I said this last month, but thank you for that opportunity. Land Water Conservation Fund grant for the soccer fields, the firefighter equipment grant through the Forestry Department, and Cherokee Nation Public Health grants, which were also for the soccer fields and the bathrooms at Brush, are all outstanding. We're in the process of closing out the T-Mobile grant for the dog park. Imagine, Mr. Heavily, you're gonna address that in your
Nope.
administrative reports? Yep, okay. Technology purchased by the Strata grant for workforce development to kind of close that out from Carl Albert. That was $6,000 we used for equipment for technology. OWRB grant was transferred to the Country Club Lift Station. Once that project kicks off, we'll be able to draw the remainder of that funding down. PFS application was submitted for prevention services through our consultant. Unallocated prep funding for our comprehensive master plan. We had the initial kickoff meeting on the 29th. We'll be moving forward with that project, getting more people involved throughout the community. We'll have a 50 to 70 member steering committee team. Like we talked about before, it'll be a bottom-up approach, and so, anyway, it's good. Ballistic vest partnership for the police department. We applied for our final reimbursement for it for this year in March. We're still waiting on the reimbursement. The plan unit development that we talked about last month went before the planning commission. They're gonna give us our final revisions. We hope to have that in front of you guys by next month. We had a discussion and a meeting with our hotel developer. That project is still moving forward, slowly, but still moving forward. Boys and Girls Club will be meeting with the architect this month. Follow-up meeting over the sidewalks there in front of the school and down JT Stites. I think we're getting a partnership put together. We'll have some sidewalks there and increase walkability from those neighborhoods to the school, which is good. Milliston SIC meeting will be in a couple weeks. Milliston's project is still progressing. The amount of technology, I've said it before, that's going on inside that building is pretty incredible. The amount of jobs, the amount of investment they're doing here in Sallisaw, Oklahoma is pretty amazing. We'll have a workforce recruitment event soon for 42 to 45 retail jobs. The city will take part in advertising for those jobs for retail. And we have 2 more retail companies that are in final negotiations for the East End. Developers are moving along for hangar construction. You guys approving that plat, which we didn't talk about, will save us 60 days at a minimum, probably more like 90. So that's excellent news for our hangar construction people. And we're receiving more interest from other developers for hangar construction as well. So try to make it as brief as I could. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Warman. How about an update on current and future projects?
Can't believe you made him walk up here.
Should've just brought me the mic, George. Good evening. If you haven't been by the pool, we've had lots of progress going on. We've had about 50,000 square feet of sod laid just in the last week. We still have about 40,000 more square feet that's going to be laid later on as Voy gets further along in their project. We're working, starting tomorrow, we'll be working on the punch list for Hoey Construction. Jeff Evans, the architect, will be down tomorrow afternoon, as well as Mike Hoey, who will be walking through the project once we get a time established, which right now it's looking like it'll be about 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. We'll start looking through some things, getting them a preliminary punch list to move this project a little bit further along. We have set the light poles in at the pool. There are a few little hiccups with the light poles we're going to be addressing with the contractor tomorrow, so maybe we can get those situated. There's just a few minor things that Mr. Harrelly and I noticed this afternoon that we want them to address. It's nothing totally detrimental, but it's the optics of it, just, we need them to take care of it. So, we received the DEQ approval for the new water system in the pool. So, we'll be doing one last final flush on that system this week. Turning on the water to the facilities and flushing the buildings out, trying to get the building ready for operation. Voy they are approximately at 56% complete, which means the stainless steel gutters have been installed. They've had their testing done on those, so right now they're installing the return lines off of those stainless steel gutters going to the pump building. The slide has been installed. If you haven't went by to see it, it's a very good looking feature that's going to really add to this aquatic center. Of course, the shade canopies have been going up. We have one more slated to be started tomorrow. They should start the foundations for those tomorrow, and then hopefully by the end of the week, they'll have the frame up, which will be all of the frames for the shade canopies at that time. If you haven't went by and looked as well, Sallisaw Public Schools has been working on some things and that's adjacent to the project, expanding concrete and matter of fact, Mr. Barrett liked our shade structures so much, he's going to go ahead and order one and add it to the concrete area to, and again, enhance the looks of the facility. They will also be painting the facility to match everything, our current construction, so everything will blend together by the time the school is done with the project, and it will look like one intentional project at that point. So, water projects and sewer projects that we've had, the West Drake Water Project, we are still working on the cleanup on that, but past that, all the water line system is in, it's been tested, it's been approved by DEQ. All of the homes in that area are connected to the water system and they're now using it. So once we get the dress up complete, then we'll be able to finalize and take that project off of our list. Locust and Elm Sewer is complete. All of the existing homes have been connected to the sewer. We have stub outs that are ready for the remaining small homes that are going to be built in that area, which currently there's 4, and we have 5 more slated to be constructed at a later date. Future projects, to emphasize more what George says, we have approved the permits for Ollie's. Ollie's will be going to Eastgate Shopping Center. And woo-hoo, yeah. If not both of us, Chris Carter will at least be meeting with them Wednesday to go over a few things with the general contractor who will be doing that project for them. Look forward to them coming in and being part of the community. We met with Sallisaw Apartment Group. Chris has finalized 6 of their 10 permits for their houses that they're going to build, and we have been in contact with Kelly Osborne with Osborne Land Surveyors to plat the remaining 4 lots that they're going to do. We will be issuing 4 site work permits for those lots so that they can go ahead and do some of their preliminary dirt work, but we won't be issuing any permits till they finish their platting on that project. George touched bases on the PUD. probably more than likely, before we, once council, or I get everything rewritten, I'll probably go ahead and send a copy to the city attorney so that he can review it as well, before planning commission makes their final vote on it, just in case there's something that we've missed. It's always, we started that practice a long time ago with Mr. Montgomery, and it helped us catch a few things. So I'll be forwarding that on to Jordan before we take our final vote on that. We've also been working real good and close with Millicent. Millicent is working on completing their final phase 1, which is the remodel of the current building that they are in. And we've already started working with them on the phase 2 with the preliminary plans for their second building and the layout of that property, giving them guidance on plating, easements, and things of that nature. Past that, that's about all I've got. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
How about an update on finances, Robin?
Good evening. So sales tax for May remained positive at $714,000, and our use tax was $97,000, and both of these are increases from the prior year in May. We've completed 11 months now, so we're at 92% of our budget goals. As far as general fund, revenues are at 98%, and our expenses are at 88%, so that's tracking real well. And the SMA revenues, taxes are at 101%. Telecom is at 90%, sanitation and landfill 87%, electric services 86%, water and sewer 117%, and our overall total for SMA is at 92%, and our expenses set at 76%. So unless you've got any other questions, or if you have any questions about your budget packets and replacing all of your stuff, just give us a holler.
Thank Mr. Heverly?
All right, so, next regular meeting will be the 14th of July. It is later in July than we normally have them. Just make sure you mark that on your calendar, August 11th for that meeting in August, obviously.
Well, everybody, I'll be out of town,
Which,
July 14th.
so,
Me too.
I'll be here.
I'll be here.
I'll be in the middle of the ocean, just in
So-
case.
Josh, will you be attending? Okay, we'll have quorum then.
You'll have 3.
So with the comprehensive master plan, as you heard George talk about, we are forming a stakeholder group that's 50 to 70 people from across various community organizations. And we will be approaching those organizations and getting email addresses, contact information from those individuals. It'll be, George, correct me if I'm wrong, they said a commitment of 4 times, I believe, 4 meetings over the next year for those folks to attend and provide input. Again, the goal is to gather a broad range of folks, broad range of input. We're asking the Neighborhood Association for a couple folks, to everybody from, again, the Neighborhood Association, to the Planning Commission, to the ODVA, to the Boys and Girls Club, to the Lions Club, the Youth League, as well as the Cherokee Nation, to represent their constituents and their folks and the groups that they represent, to come in and provide feedback to this process. Water meters, AMI water meters have begun installation, so if you see folks walking around, if they say, hey, I'm from the city, I'm here to help, don't throw them off your property, please. They are putting in brand-new AMI water meters. What that will do is allow us to check them remotely, and that will also prevent a very large discrepancy that we have now between the amount of water we treat and the amount of water we bill for. So those will replace and increase the efficiency in the city's water distribution system. There are only 1,800 of them, so not everybody is going to get a brand new water meter this first round. We do have plans, but we've got to set conditions for the next phase as we go after the additional water meters. Drake and Lennington, this is the project that keeps on giving. The contractors out there under the watchful eye of Scott Neal cleaning some things up, putting down seeding, putting down some grass seed and straw, replacing fences that they had to take apart to do the project. So those are, again, in the final throes of completion. Soccer fields, no change on those, still waiting for grant funding before we go out for bid again. The animal control ordinance, as you heard from Dr. Haraway today, that will go in front of Planning Commission next month, and then in front of you as well next month, barring any gargantuan issues at Planning Commission. It was out for review and public comment for about 3 weeks. We actually went an extra week, I apologize from what the guidance was, but we went an extra week with the survey, and you heard the draft ordinance that you will see is, and that you have in your hands, is reflective of that. So the spay and neuter ordinance that she requested is in that section, is in that ordinance for next month. Landfill cell, again, we're just waiting for it to stop raining so that we can get folks out there and take pictures of the new cell and have a ribbon cutting, if you will. There is garbage in it, but the new compactor hasn't been running over it because it's been so wet. We don't want to damage the liner that's out there. We're still working on the grand opening for the dog park, but when I say we're working, 13 June, 4:30 to 6 o'clock, grand opening at the Bailey Coachman Memorial Dog Park out at the McGee softball fields. If you go to the McGee softball and baseball fields, you can't miss the dog parks out there. A lot of folks have been using it. But again, we wanted the sign done, want to do it right, and have a good little grand opening out there on Friday afternoon.
What time is it again?
4:30 to 6 o'clock. There'll be representatives from T-Mobile out there as well.
I'm out of town, so
I'm out of town.
some of you guys can show up.
Middle of the ocean, pre-trip to the big trip.
Me and Brad will be there.
Okay.
And then property insurance. Weird, this is something I'm handling, but I want you all to be aware of it. Our insurer of the past 30 years has dropped us. And it was literally on our last bill that our policy no longer meets their underwriting guidance and guidelines. We were close last year. We made some changes last year to get underneath the wire, so to speak. But there was no wiggle room this year. So we are in negotiations. We are trying to find a new provider. We've asked OMAG. They owe us. We have the rest of our insurance through OMAG, so we're approaching them for property insurance. So just again, in case you hear rumors to that effect, it is not a rumor. Our 30-year insurance provider has dropped us. And the kayaks are coming. We've agreed. We finalized on the agreement. The pad has been poured. We are waiting for the install. I've seen a draft of the Salisaw Rent Fund kayak website, or the portal that you go through to actually rent these things, and I am contacting them almost on a daily basis to try to get inside their the Air Force, where my gentlemen go, inside their decision-making process to figure out when we can expect those things. Gentlemen, if you would allow me to thank Kim. This is a huge undertaking, this particular meeting, with all the paperwork, getting all the contracts, all the consent items for signature done and straight. So Kim, I want to thank you publicly for putting this together, because she has been working hard on this for days. I also want to publicly thank Robin and Kaylee for the work that they did putting together the budget that you all saw. Not only the retreat, but also the final project takes hours and hours from those two ladies to put together. Robin's been working on this since at least February, on top of her other job of being the finance director for the city. So huge shout out to those three ladies for doing the Lord's work and just a Herculean effort to get everything to where we have today. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Pending any questions, gentlemen, that's all I have.
I have a comment. I would like to publicly give a shout out to our electric department, our city department, our Diamond Net, and anybody else that was working like a bunch of busy beavers this last week, making sure the lights were still on and the trees were cleared and we had things going on in this city. It was amazing to see how much effort was put into recovery and repair, and the hours that were put in. I just cannot be complimentary enough of our city staff and everything they're doing to make sure the lights are on and the Diamond Net's on in this community. And I want to say thank you publicly. Lynn, you can print that for me if you don't mind, please. Because it was lots and lots of hours and lots of time, sometimes in some bad weather. So, thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Pass that on if you would, please. Pancho?
Brian, thanks for
Sure.
getting the Facebook pictures of the new slide posted. I mean, of course, there's always good and bad, but I think the majority of them were good, but it looks good over there. If y'all haven't been by to see it, go by and look at it. Talking about the way the building looks, I really think that I would like to see the sign that the school's gonna put up on the outer wall. I know you plan on putting it, we had kind of talked, I think you told me, in the entryway on the left side, right? So I personally think it would look better if it was around the corner. That way you have the Perry F. Lattimore, and then we have the Stanley Collins Aquatics. I personally think that they would look better that way. There's enough room. I know that door's right there. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's enough clearance, the door won't get close to it. That's personally what I think. I feel like if we put it in that hallway, we're gonna hide it.
So the intent wasn't to put it in the hallway. If you think of it's an L shape as you come up to the entrance, so it wouldn't be in the hallway.
Right,
It'd
it's
be on
just
the
coming on the
left-hand
left
side as
side.
you come up. Couple reasons for doing that. One, put them both by the entrance, the same entrance. Where we place that school emblem, it'd be visible from Redwood. As you're driving up and down Redwood, it'd be visible from Redwood. The other issue is that it would save us punching another hole in the wall. We'd have to punch a hole in the wall to pull power to it. That's really what it came down to, is there's an outlet right where we want it to be, on the wall where it's proposed. If we had to slide it around, we'd either have to punch another hole or pull conduit down from an existing light, which would
Be a little
take
work.
away from the aesthetics of the building. So that's really what it was. I preferred not to punch another hole in the wall or run conduit down from an existing light. And that light the overhead light is right there above it. So while it may look like it's gonna add to the ambiance, because they're gonna light that, they wanna light it just the same as as our
Right.
sign.
I just feel like it's gonna be hidden.
So if it helps, the superintendent liked where we wanted to put it. At least he hasn't come back to me. He initially said, correct me if I'm wrong, he initially said he's fine with it, likes where we proposed it, but we can move it. It's not a hill I'm gonna die on.
Y'all go by and look at it. I mean, it's not up yet, but y'all look at it, see what y'all think, but.
Yeah.
To me, I think it's gonna be, when you're coming down Redwood, you might see it, but where the majority of the people park,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's gonna look better from walking up to the park, it's gonna look a lot better than it is hidden under the awning.
I'm welcome to input,
Any
absolutely.
other comments?
Yep.
Any other concerns? If not, we'll have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Second.
Moody,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Indiola,
Yes.
Martins.
Yes. That'll put us right into the SMA meeting. I'm gonna call that meeting to order and declare that we do have a quorum. Item 3, we need possible action on minutes of regular meeting of May 12th, 2025, and special meeting of May 20th, 2025.
Make a motion.
Second.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martins.
Yes. Item 4, possible action on resolution 2025-03, a resolution of lease purchase renewal on 2025 Aljon ADV 525 rebuilt core landfill compactor with a payoff of April of 2031.
So this is an annual lease purchase renewal that y'all passed during the consent. A lot of this is just now, because it was bought with SMA money, so it's on the SMA.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 2025-03.
Second.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Martins.
Yes. Item 5, possible action on correction of water purchase contract. Contract was presented as with Rural Water District 3 and should have been Rural Water District 8.
So that was absolutely our mistake. We named it Rural District 3 because we weren't sure that they had been officially subsumed or had been renamed as Rural District 8. So however they have, and they request that we change the title. And again, we expect them to require our water for at least another year before they turn off our tap and turn on the Sequoia County, or the Sequoia Water District's tap.
I'll make a motion to approve correction.
Second.
Moody,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Item 6, discussion and possible action on resolution 2025-04, a resolution agreeing to file application with the Oklahoma Water Resources Board for financial assistance to the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program, with the loan proceeds being for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, equipping, and installing an automatic meter reader system for the authority's water system, approving a legal services agreement and a financial advisory agreement with respect to the aforesaid automatic meter reader system project and containing other provisions related thereto.
So this is extraordinarily similar to the one we applied for last year and didn't get. We think we have learned from our, I'm not gonna say it's a mistake, we learned from the process, we took lessons learned, applied it to this year's application. Mr. Byram is here to.
Mr. Nelson. I'm sorry. My name's Randy Nelson. I'm with Baker Group. I'm your financial advisor. First off, I want to start with under the Clean Water SRF under the Water Resource Board. We got the $1.5 million grant for the city of Sallisaw. Robin and Brian did a great job, and out of, I would say about 60 applications, we came in number 4. The largest community get a grant, so that's pretty exciting. The Oklahoma Water Resource Board will meet here in early July to approve that side, and we'll have loan papers. It's a forgivable loan, is how they structure these. But we'll have that teed up, approved in July, hopefully closed by the end of summer, and you'll have the $1.5 million in your bank account. So that's going on. This, I guess, while you might as well strike while Aaron's hot. There's another $800,000 still around under the other side, which is the drinking water. This involves DEQ. It's going to be a little trickier. We'll have there's some requirements that we'll go through. We kind of have an idea what we need to do. We're going to make an application on it. There's a couple of $1 million, about $2 or $3 million left for this fiscal year. And October 1st, we'll start the 2026 money, and that'll reload another $15 million. So if we don't succeed right away, I think we'll be in good shape to pick it up this fall. So we need to start the application now so we can be in shape to see if there is any money we can grab onto. If not, we'll be ready to hit it this fall. So this is the start of the application. Once we get this approved, we'll start putting together the application with Robin and Brian's help and see how we run this next program.
And again, this is to secure Randy's firm. I apologize, sir. God bless America. Secure Randy's firm assisting us with this. Again, we did get the 1.5, and they don't get paid unless we get the loan to begin with. So this would be a second go. This would be the second phase of the AMIs. Again, first phase, we only bought 1,800. This would allow us to get the remainder. There is, again, like he said, there is a little bit of work to do, but we know what that work is to do and stand a better chance of getting it this year and or next year, depending on funding available, as far as the application process is concerned.
Thank you, Randy. Could I have a motion, please? Approve.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-04.
Second.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Moody.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Anything else, Mr. Everly?
No, sir.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moody.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Mendiola.
Yes.
Martins.
Yes. That'll take us right into our Economic Authority regular meeting. I call that to order and declare that we have a quorum. Possible action on minutes of regular meeting of April 14th, 2025.
Make a motion.
Second.
Mendiola.
Yes.
Moody.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Martins.
Yes. Item 4, discussion and possible action on issuing payment to OSU Center for Health Sciences in the amount of $269,817.32, and Lennon King LLC in the amount of $41,166.29 for the hospital authority.
So these are both additional debtors that the hospital would like us to pay out of the bond. Ma'am, did I get that right? Yeah. Yeah. So this isn't new. These are just two additional organizations that we're going to use the bond money, that is intended for the bond money to pay off.
Make a motion to approve the invoice payment request?
Second.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Any other items? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moody,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Thank you all for being here tonight.